Hey guys, today we're going to talk about caffeine. And caffeine is the most widely used drug in the world. And these are some of the items that have caffeine in it. You've got green teas, energy drinks, and different kinds of coffee. Caffeine is something that's used by lots of athletes, and so this video is to try to help you to be a little more informed about how much to take and when to take it and that sort of thing. The label doesn't always say how much caffeine is in the product that you're using, so it may be beneficial to you to get on the internet and do a search so that you're not getting too much. The recommendation on how much caffeine to use is it's safe to take in 400 milligrams or less of caffeine per day. Now sometimes if you're drinking a lot of energy drinks, it can be really easy to get over that amount, but we'll talk about that more here in just a minute. If you want to get really specific on how much caffeine that you can take in, another recommendation is somewhere in between 3 milligrams and 9 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. And that's why it might be easier for you just to remember less than 400 milligrams, because sometimes doing all the math, translating your weight into kilograms and then multiplying that by a milligram amount of caffeine can be hard to mess with. There are a lot of benefits to using caffeine. It can help you to feel more alert and awake, which is really helpful if you're needing to stay up late to work on homework. And it's also helpful if you're wanting to use it from an athlete standpoint, because being more alert, having more reaction time and awareness of what's going on can be really beneficial to you. It also helps with endurance performance. It helps you with being able to handle pain, because it increases the amount of endorphins that are released into the body, and endorphins help with pain management. So sometimes people are able to go longer in an endurance event because they don't have the problems with the pain because of the endorphins. It can also help you to increase your metabolic rate. And as far as the weight room goes, it's better suited for helping you to get more repetitions in, more so than it is helpful at getting you to do a higher 1 rep max. Okay, so really caffeine is better suited for endurance athletes, but with higher doses it can help with strength and power as well. There are some disadvantages to using caffeine. It will affect your heart rate and your blood pressure. Now this is typically not a huge jump in either of those, and it's also not as likely to be a problem for people that use caffeine for a long period of time and they're used to it. But if you're new to using caffeine, then this can be a really big deal. So it's important for you to consult with your doctor if you have heart or circulation problems before getting on a regular schedule of using caffeine. It can keep you up at night and affect your quality of sleep. If you take too high of a dose, it can make you feel nervous and anxious, so that's not necessarily a good thing for you to do before you're getting into a game, because your energy level is already a little bit higher up before a game. You may already be a little nervous, so adding to that is not going to be a good thing. As far as the type of athlete that this is best suited for, it's typically endurance type athletes are going to have the best performance. It can help some with anaerobic things like we've talked about with strength and power, but overall with research it looks like endurance athletes are going to have the biggest benefit from this. There are going to be some people that are responders and non-responders, which means some people are going to have a really good effect from taking caffeine. Okay, and then there's going to be other people that can take lots of milligrams of it and they don't have an effect at all. So if you're not used to taking caffeine or you don't take it regularly, then the recommendation is usually to just start with 100 milligrams and see how that affects you. And then if it works good, then leave it there. If it doesn't work, then you can try increasing it a little bit at a time until you find that milligram that's right for you. Habitual users are going to build up a tolerance to using caffeine, which means that they're not going to have that effect that they want if they use it regularly. So it's important for you to remember that you need to just take this as needed, not every day. You at least want to have one day in between taking it if you're using it to help you with athletic performance. And it's not one of those situations where you can just take more caffeine and increase the milligram and then get that effect again, because there is a limit. And once you reach that limit, then you have to back off and not use it at all to get it out of your system to rebuild that tolerance back up. The NCAA does have a ban on excessive use of caffeine, which is 15 micrograms per milliliter of urine. So if you get drug tested and you have more than that, then you're going to fail your drug test. That equates to about 500 milligrams of caffeine, which is well over the safe use that we talked about before of 400 milligrams. So just make sure that you stay under that. And lastly, I just want to remind you, check the labels of your items that you're drinking or eating to make sure that you're not getting too much caffeine. Get on the internet and look things up if it's not listed. Start small and increment, from there to increase it to figure out what works best for you. Make sure that you're cycling this on and off. Don't just take it every day, because you'll become immune to it at some point. And lastly, I wanted to put in a plug for this V8 energy drink. It's only 45 calories in this can, 8 ounces, and it has 80 milligrams of caffeine. It's actually labeled on the bottle so that you'll know exactly how much you're getting. And it's also got a lot of vitamins and minerals in it that are good. And it has 1 combined serving of fruit and vegetables in it. So out of all of these that are up here, that would be the one that I would like the best.